Okay, so a quick review on SOHCAHTOA. You guys remember SOHCAHTOA?
Sure.
What's S stand for? Sine, opposite, hypotenuse, and what? Cosine, adjacent, hypotenuse, tangent, opposite, adjacent. We're talking about when we are finding the trigonometric ratios of sine, cosine, tangent in a right triangle. Make it a right triangle. It doesn't look like a right triangle yet. Now it does. In a right triangle only. And theta is the angle. Every single one of these is sine of an angle. Every single one of these, cosine of an angle. It's always the ratio of the angle. It goes off of the angle. And every time that you're writing this stuff, if you're writing it this way, you're going to remember it better. It's going to help you in the long run that you're writing sine of theta is opposite over hypotenuse. This is where we're getting SOHCAHTOA from. So SOHCAHTOA is just help you remember it. Tangent of an angle is the opposite over the adjacent. And then last year you learned about the other three trigonometric ratios, which are just reciprocals of the first three. So you only have to memorize SOHCAHTOA, and to find the cosecant, you just reciprocate the sine. To find secant, you reciprocate cosine. To find cotangent, you reciprocate tangent. Now, I know my students have no problem remembering that tangent and cotangent are the reciprocals of each other. It's remembering the other two where people forget which one goes with which. So what I say is for each of these reciprocal pairs, for each pair, there is only one co with each pair, like tangent and cotangent. For each pair, there's a co. So sine does not have the word co in it, does not have the... So cosecant goes with sine. And then cosine has secant. So each pair only has one word that starts with co. So cosine does not go with cosecant, even though people want to do it really bad. So just one co. And then just a reminder about reciprocals. And I'm going to use an example up here, but reciprocals. If we have the reciprocal, I'm just going to write of sine of theta. The reciprocal of sine of theta is cosecant. But to get to cosecant, that in-between step would be like saying 1 over sine theta. Oops, I just wrote the wrong one, sorry. So when we talk about reciprocals, we talk about 1 over the original. That'll be important tomorrow. I'm just writing it down today. It'll be important tomorrow, okay? All right, let's do some examples. Here we go. Use the triangle below to find the values of the 6 trigonometric functions. So I'm going to write the 6 trigonometric functions first. Sine of theta, cosine of theta, tangent of theta. See how I'm writing of theta every single time? Cosecant, theta, secant, theta, cotangent, theta. And I'm writing it every single time so that later, when we do the hard stuff, I don't have to think about this. Like, it comes natural because I've done it. I've committed it to long-term memory by doing it so many times. Sine of theta is the opposite of theta divided by the hypotenuse of the triangle. What is the opposite? What side is not touching angle theta? 3. And then the hypotenuse is? 5. How'd you know that?
3, 4, 5.
That's a triple. 3, 4, 5. If you don't know your triples, how would you find it? Or if it's not a triple, how would you find that the hypotenuse is 5? Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. You just have to be very careful because the c is the hypotenuse. And if you put them in the wrong spot, you will get the wrong answer. So it is 5 though, because that is a triple. Cosine would be adjacent, so touching the angle but not the hypotenuse, over the hypotenuse. And then tangent is opposite over adjacent. So I have those memorized, the sine, cosine, tangent. I don't have what cosecant, secant, and cotangent are memorized. Like I don't know what's over what. I mean, I can figure it out, but all I do is find these three and then just flip, reciprocate these. So I don't have to think about cosecant is the hypotenuse over the opposite and go find the hypotenuse and the opposite. I don't need to think about that. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you have like a pet peeve when people say hypotenuse? Because like you're saying hypotenuse. Like, you really
Am I really?
It's funny. The way you say it though is cool.
Hypotenuse? Is that when people say
Yeah,
hypotenuse?
because like I know my mom, she like hates it when someone says library instead of like berry instead of like library.
Right, because they're learning, like
Yeah.
February. I don't know, I have kids at home, so I tend to probably emphasize things so my children learn the correct way. I'm guessing that's why I've never, nobody's ever said that to me before. All right, guys, I've gone to the next question, and they asked me to find the other 5 trigonometric ratios. I'm writing all 6 down just to make it easier on myself. I always write down all 6. And then I'll go fill in the information that they gave me. So they told us that the cosecant of theta is 3 over 2. So I'm going to go put that in my chart, 3 over 2. And I have to find the other ones. So since I know cosecant, what do I also know? Sine, just have to reciprocate it, 2/3. Now the rest of them, I'll tell you, I'm not the kind of person that always comes up with the right answer unless I like put it on the paper, like draw a picture. I'm a visual person. So I'm going to draw this picture. And I don't know exactly what it looks like. I just know that it's a right triangle and there's theta in one of the angles, one of the acute angles. And I know that the opposite side is 2 and that the hypotenuse, which is across from the 90, is 3. I'm sorry. I don't even notice it. That's all you're listening for now. How do I find that third side? Ash? Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. What is c? 3. It's the hypotenuse, it's the longest side. It's across from the 90 degrees. It doesn't matter which side is A or B, it just matters C. So I get b squared is 5, then I square root, and b is, do I need plus or minus? I mean, I should think about it like, okay, if I square root it, it's plus minus, but do I need the minus? No. So just square root 5. Okay, now we do our cosine. Our cosine is the adjacent, square root 5 over hypotenuse 3. I'm so like oversensitive about it. Tangent is the opposite over the, oh no, what did I just do? I put a radical in the denominator. I can't have that. I'm going to rationalize it. You remember how to rationalize? That would be the answer, yeah. We're going to multiply by square root of 5 over square root of 5. That's a value of 1. So it doesn't affect the value, just affects the appearance. So we get 2 radical 5 over 5. Then we go and we do we have our cosecant. We do our secant. So all we have to do is reciprocate cosine. So I have 3 over, oh no, another one. Rationalize that. So I have 3 radical 5 over 5. Now cotangent, we're going to have to reciprocate, but let's think ahead here. These blue tangents, those are equal. You can reciprocate either of them. Which one's going to give me less work to reciprocate?
First one.
Yeah. I'm not going to reciprocate the one that has the radical on top. I'm going to reciprocate that first one. Then I have to do less work. All right? Good? When you do this, I've already had the questions, and I'm going to have more of them. You do simplify. So while I had said this was 2 and 3, it might have been 6 and 9. And when I put my sine, my opposite over my hypotenuse, and I got 6 over 9, that reduces to 2 over 3. So you might have some that need to be reduced, and we always reduce. So we want the most general sign. All right, 30, 60, 90, 45, 45, 90. You did these last year, special right triangles. You did these in geometry, special right triangles. These are the ones you have to have memorized. They don't have to be memorized yet, but they have to get memorized. So we're going to start memorizing them today. I meant you, because mine are memorized. So we're going to do sine of what degrees? 45 degrees. Cosine of 45 degrees. Tangent of 45 degrees. And we'll use the triangles for now, but once you have these memorized, you don't need the triangles anymore. So again, this is a 45 degree triangle, but it doesn't have to be 1, 1 square root 2. It could be 5, 5, 5 radical 2. Like it could be a similar triangle that all the numbers are multiplied by the same number, because they give the same proportions when we reduce it. Okay. So what is the opposite over the hypotenuse? Can we leave it as 1 over radical 2? No, we have to rationalize it. So we multiply by radical 2 over 2, and we get radical 2 over just 2. And the cosine of 45 degrees, since this is a what kind of triangle? Isosceles. Good, isosceles. Both sides are the same, so when I go do my cosine and I do the adjacent, it's still 1 over radical 2. So it's square root of 2 over 2. And then since it's isosceles and I do tangent and I do 1 over 1, I get 1. So these always, always, always are the sine, cosine, and tangent of every single 45, 45 degree, 90 degree triangle. Always, no matter what size they are. 30 degrees. Sine of 30 degrees. What's the sine of 30 degrees? 1/2. Wu Young, what's the sine of 30 degrees? No, sine. Yes. Renine, what's the sine of 30 degrees? Andrew, what's the sine of 30 degrees? Gage, what's the sine of 30 degrees? 1/2.
25.
Memorize it. If you can memorize the sine of 30 degrees, you're like halfway there with all the memorizations. I'm telling you, promising you. Memorize that one. What? Okay, cosine of 30 degrees is the other side, the square root of 3 over 2. And then tangent is 1 over radical 3, but we can't leave it like that. We have to rationalize it. It ends up being square root of 3 over 3. These have to be, those have to be memorized. I remember the tangent of 30 is the one with all the 3's in it. The square root of 3 over 3. The tangent of 30 is the square root of 3 over 3. With all the 30's in it. Last one. So the 60 degrees are in the same triangles of 30 degrees. 60 degrees in the same triangles of 30 degrees. So these numbers are similar. Sine of 60 degrees. Square root of 3 over 2. Cosine of 60. Half. It's the same as the sine of 30. So if you can remember the sine of 30, cosine of 60 is the same. Sine of 60 is the same as cosine of 30. Tangent of 60 is square root of 3 over 1, which is square root of 3. So there's 9 things that, there's a few more things that you have to memorize, but 9 major things you got to memorize. Not by tomorrow, but see. That's it for the notes. I have some books up here, so you don't have to all climb over people sitting over there. And you might have, I don't know if anybody didn't put it back in the other class. What time are we out? 25. So you have about 8 minutes to start. I'll hand you back your tests, just so you can see, and then you can look at them later this week when you're studying for your exam. So let me just stop this video and then I'll go back up.